Welcome to Zoe Stories. I said yes before I knew the dress was for me. Jake is a 25-year-old graphic designer living a quiet, predictable life. He works for a small digital marketing agency in the heart of the city, where he designs websites and creates digital media. His work is steady but not particularly thrilling, leaving him plenty of time to think and, more importantly, reflect on a side of himself he's been keeping hidden. This secret is his love for crossdressing, a side of himself that has always been there, simmering under the surface, but never fully explored. Jake doesn't consider himself a stereotypical crossdresser. He didn't wake up one day and decide he wanted to wear women's clothes. For him, it's more complicated, a mix of curiosity, personal expression, and a deep, almost inexplicable need. It started during his teenage years when he found an old dress in his mother's closet. At first, it was a harmless curiosity, just something that intrigued him. But as time passed, Jake found himself drawn to the feeling of wearing women's clothing, the softness of the fabrics, the way the clothes made him feel more graceful, and how they allowed him to express a different side of himself. He never talked about it to anyone, and especially not Emma, his girlfriend of over a year. To her, Jake is the man who supports her career ambitions and who's always there when she needs him. He's the dependable guy who works hard and loves her deeply. But underneath that surface, Jake harbors a secret. The truth is, he enjoys transforming into someone else, someone who feels more delicate, more beautiful, a woman. But it's a part of him that he's kept tightly sealed, terrified that if Emma ever found out, it would change everything. Jake's struggle is one of fear and uncertainty. He isn't ashamed of who he is, but he's terrified of rejection. He wonders if Emma would still love him if she knew. Would she find him less of a man? Would she see him as a fraud? These questions swirl in his mind every time the thought of sharing his secret crosses his mind. For now, he chooses to live a double life, one where he's the loving boyfriend Emma adores, and another where he explores this secret world in the privacy of his apartment. The story begins in Jake's small but comfortable apartment. It's not much, just a one-bedroom place on the second floor of a city building. The furniture is simple, with a couch against the wall and a small wooden coffee table. On the walls are a few art prints and photos of Jake and Emma during happier times, vacations, birthdays, and cozy nights in. His apartment is organized, neat, but a little impersonal. It's the kind of place you'd expect from a young man in a steady job. The apartment serves as Jake's sanctuary. It's where he can unwind from the pressures of his work and life, but more importantly, it's where he can be alone with his secret. The closet is where his transformation happens, hidden behind the closed door of the small space, where he keeps his stash of dresses, makeup, wigs, and heels. The bedroom mirrors a side of him he can't express anywhere else, and the moment he steps into those clothes, it's as if he becomes someone new. The mood is peaceful at the start, quiet, reflective. The light filters softly through the blinds of his apartment, casting shadows across the room. Jake has just returned home from work, and he's sitting on his couch, mindlessly scrolling through his phone. His apartment feels safe, comfortable. Yet, there's an underlying sense of unease, a sense that something is about to change. Emma, 24, is Jake's girlfriend of over a year. She's beautiful, ambitious, and passionate about her career in public relations. She works long hours at a top PR firm, often coming home late, but when she's around, her presence fills the apartment with warmth and light. Emma is loving, supportive, and cares deeply for Jake. She's the kind of girlfriend who makes sure he eats properly, encourages him to pursue his creative projects, and often jokes about how their life together seems perfect. To Emma, Jake is the man who's always there for her. He listens to her ramble about her day, calms her when she's stressed, and makes her feel loved in ways she didn't even know she needed. She's proud of him for his work, admires his creativity, and feels lucky to be with him. She sees their relationship moving in a serious direction, marriage, children, the works. But Emma doesn't know everything about Jake. She has no idea about the part of him that longs to wear women's clothes, to feel beautiful and delicate, or that he's hiding a secret life. For her, Jake is her steady, reliable partner. She has no reason to suspect that there's more going on under the surface. As the story begins, Emma and Jake have been talking more seriously about their future together. There have been subtle hints from Emma about moving in together, or even getting married. It's clear that Emma envisions their lives together in the long run, and she's hopeful for the future. Jake, while he loves her deeply, begins to feel the pressure of maintaining this image. The more serious their relationship gets, the more he fears what might happen if she ever finds out about his crossdressing. The stakes feel higher, the risk of exposure ever more threatening. One evening, after dinner, Emma brings up an unexpected request. She's been helping her best friend, Sophia, with her upcoming wedding, and Sophia has asked Emma to be part of the bridal party. Emma is excited about the idea, but then drops a bombshell. She wants Jake to be the maid of honor. At first, Jake laughs it off, thinking it's a joke, but Emma assures him it's not. In fact, Sophia had specifically requested him because of how close they are as a couple, and the idea of Jake standing beside Emma on her big day excites her. At first, Jake doesn't know how to react. He agrees to it before fully processing the implications. The idea of wearing a dress at a wedding and having to stand in front of everyone as Emma's maid of honor sends a cold shiver down his spine. This could be the moment that exposes everything. He had been able to keep his crossdressing secret for so long, but now it's as if his worst fear is about to come true. The dress, the attention, the reality of it all sinks in. He realizes that this wedding might be the ultimate test of both his relationship with Emma and his secret. As the realization of what's happening begins to settle in, Jake becomes consumed by a mix of emotions. The promise of being part of Emma's wedding as the maid of honor should be an honor, but for Jake, it's nothing short of a nightmare. He is excited by the idea of dressing up and playing that role, but the fear of exposure and the consequences of being discovered weigh heavily on him. He begins to question everything: his relationship with Emma, the trust she has in him, and whether she would ever be able to accept the secret he's been hiding. Would this reveal make him a traitor in her eyes? A fake? Would it destroy everything they've built together? Jake is terrified of the potential fallout, but there's also a strange thrill bubbling under the surface. This is, after all, an opportunity to live out a hidden fantasy, one that he's never had the courage to act on in full view. Over the next few days, Jake's mind races. He feels trapped in a web of lies, with no way out. He starts to question why he agreed to such a thing in the first place. But the pressure mounts. Emma is ecstatic about the idea, and even though Jake knows it could end badly, he can't bear to disappoint her. So he agrees, although reluctantly. The emotional tension is heightened by the fact that Jake can't bring himself to tell Emma the truth. There's a constant feeling of shame and fear bubbling inside him as he prepares to play a role in a way that's completely alien to who he's been up until now. He wonders whether he's doing this for Emma's happiness or his own, whether this is his moment to feel free or the beginning of the end for his relationship with her. The day of the wedding fittings arrives, and Jake feels a mix of dread and excitement. He has never fully experienced the process of crossdressing in such a public, involved manner. Sure, he's dressed up in the privacy of his apartment, but the thought of doing so in front of Emma, her family, and friends, especially in such an important role, terrifies him. Emma drives him to the bridal shop, and the moment they step inside, Jake's stomach twists into knots. The shop is full of women trying on gowns, fitting bridesmaids into their dresses, and making decisions about their hair and makeup. It feels like a world he doesn't belong to, but at the same time, it's all so exciting. The dresses, the makeup, the idea of becoming someone else. Everything starts to feel surreal. The moment of truth arrives when they begin selecting the dress. Jake's anxiety peaks as he watches Emma go through the options. Finally, the bridal consultant pulls out a soft, beautiful gown, perfect for the maid of honor. It's a sleek, satin dress that hugs the body in all the right places, with a plunging neckline and a flowing skirt that will make Jake feel elegant and feminine. Jake's heart races as he holds the dress in his hands. It's heavier than he expected, and the feeling of the fabric against his fingers sends a shiver down his spine. He wants to back out, but he can't. Emma's face is full of excitement as she presses the dress into his hands. "It'll be perfect for you," she says, looking up at him with trust in her eyes. Jake stares at the dress. It's the most beautiful thing he's ever held, but he feels like an imposter. He knows that the moment he steps into it, he'll be committing himself to a world that's not entirely his own, one that holds both joy and danger. That evening, after the bridal store closes, Jake is left alone in his apartment to try on the dress. Emma has given him a few hours to get ready before she comes home, and Jake has some time to prepare. He takes a deep breath and starts with the basics, slipping into a pair of shapewear, which is a challenge in itself. The feeling of compression and the soft material against his skin are strangely comforting, almost like a second skin. As he steps into the dress, the cool satin slides over his legs and torso, hugging him in ways he's never felt before. The dress fits perfectly. He's amazed at how well it conforms to his body, how it changes him. He gazes at himself in the mirror, the fabric falling in elegant folds, and for the first time, he feels a flicker of excitement mixed with deep apprehension. This is what he's been longing for, but the consequences of wearing this dress in front of others, especially Emma, loom like a storm cloud over him. Jake proceeds to apply makeup for the first time in years, something he's done only in the privacy of his apartment. The process is thrilling, and he's amazed at how a few strokes of foundation, eyeliner, and lipstick can transform his face into something more delicate, more feminine. He starts to feel like a different person, someone who is no longer confined by the rigid expectations of his day-to-day life. As he finishes applying the makeup, Jake steps back and examines himself. His reflection in the mirror is both unfamiliar and captivating. The dress, the makeup, the wig, everything has come together to create a version of himself he never thought possible. He feels beautiful, confident, and strangely free. But beneath that joy, the anxiety is still there. He can't ignore the nagging fear that someone will walk in on him. Or worse, Emma will return early and see him like this. As Jake admires himself in the mirror, he hears a knock on the door. His heart leaps into his throat. His mind races. Who could it be? Emma? A neighbor? He quickly rushes to the door, tearing himself out of the dress and back into his regular clothes. His breath is shallow, his hands trembling. He opens the door, only to find the neighbor's cat sitting on the doorstep. Relief floods his body, but it's only temporary. He knows he can't keep this up forever. He's playing with fire, and the longer he stays in this world of transformation, the more likely it is that the truth will come out. Just as Jake begins to relax, he hears Emma's car pull into the driveway. His stomach drops. He doesn't have enough time to change back into his usual clothes. He has only a few moments to pull himself together, but the tension is unbearable. His mind races. Will she walk in on him? Will she figure it out? Will this be the moment that changes everything? The day of Emma's wedding has finally arrived, and Jake is a bundle of nerves. The anticipation that has been building over the past weeks now feels like a heavy weight pressing down on him. He has agreed to be Emma's maid of honor, knowing full well that this is a pivotal moment that could change the course of his life forever. As the hours before the wedding tick by, Jake is both excited and terrified. This isn't just about dressing up in a beautiful gown for a day. This is the moment that will test everything. His fears of being exposed, his internal struggle with his identity, and his need for approval from Emma all come to a head. He can't back out now, but the pressure feels unbearable. As the bridal party prepares, Jake stands in front of a full-length mirror, staring at his reflection in the dress he's going to wear for the ceremony. The maid of honor dress is a stunning deep blue with lace and silk, and the fabric flows beautifully as he moves. For the first time, he feels truly beautiful, something he's never felt in his regular clothes. But there's a lingering anxiety in the pit of his stomach. He wonders if everyone else will notice. Will Emma see through his facade? Will any of the other guests pick up on the fact that he's not who they think he is? He tries to steady himself, but his heart is racing. His mind keeps replaying scenarios of what might happen if someone discovers the truth. The idea of being exposed in front of everyone, especially Emma, makes him feel sick. As Jake finishes his makeup and adjusts his wig, he hears footsteps approaching the room. His heart skips a beat. It's Emma. The moment of truth is fast approaching. Emma enters with a radiant smile, completely unaware of the internal chaos Jake is facing. She looks at him and compliments him on how beautiful he looks. For a brief moment, Jake feels like everything will be okay. But the facade starts to crack. Emma notices Jake's slightly trembling hands as he smooths down the hem of the dress. She tilts her head slightly, sensing that something is off, but she doesn't say anything. Jake's breath catches in his throat. Is she starting to suspect something? The tension rises as he wonders if his secret is slipping away and if this could be the moment where everything changes. As Jake steps into his shoes, he hears a knock at the door. He freezes, his heart hammering in his chest. He quickly rushes to the door, hoping to avoid any further complications. When he opens the door, he's met by a stranger, Emma's cousin, who's come to pick up a few items for the ceremony. The unexpected arrival sends Jake's pulse skyrocketing. He knows the cousin doesn't know anything about him or his transformation, but the pressure of keeping his secret is almost too much. The brief conversation with Emma's cousin feels like an eternity. Jake can barely hold it together. He manages to get through the exchange, but the anxiety gnaws at him. What if someone else walks in? What if Emma starts to notice more? As the bridal party gathers, the wedding ceremony begins to approach, and Jake's heart pounds in his chest. He stands at the front of the line with the other bridesmaids, trying to maintain his composure. His thoughts are consumed with the worry that someone will notice his transformation, or worse, that Emma will figure out what he's been hiding. Emma's gaze occasionally flickers toward him, and Jake becomes paranoid, thinking that she might be catching on. Is she looking at him differently? Is there a change in her expression? Every glance from her feels loaded with meaning. She doesn't seem suspicious at first, but Jake's growing anxiety convinces him that she must be noticing something. His hands shake as he clutches the bouquet, trying to stay calm. Just as Jake begins to think he's made it through the worst of it, disaster strikes. While walking down the aisle during the ceremony, one of the straps on the dress slips off his shoulder, exposing the lacy bra strap underneath. In a moment of panic, Jake tries to adjust it, but the fabric slips further down, causing the dress to lose its perfect fit. His heart races as he struggles to regain control. The worst part? Everyone is watching him. Emma, standing at the altar, catches a glimpse of Jake's distress and quickly glances away. Jake feels the entire room's attention shift to him, and for a moment, he feels utterly exposed. The dress isn't just a garment anymore. It represents his deepest secret, and now, it's falling apart right in front of everyone. He's terrified of what might happen next. Will Emma figure it out? Will his secret be revealed? After the ceremony, when the guests have moved on to the reception, Emma pulls Jake aside. The tension between them is thick, and Jake feels like he's walking on eggshells. Emma's face is hard to read as she looks at him, her eyes scanning him up and down. She doesn't say anything for a moment, and Jake is dying inside, wondering if this is the moment when everything will unravel. Then Emma speaks. "Jake, you've been acting strange all day. Is something going on with you?" she asks, her voice soft but firm. Jake's stomach churns. This is it. This is the confrontation he's been dreading. He stammers, trying to come up with an explanation, but the words are stuck in his throat. He knows Emma will never understand the full extent of his transformation, and the guilt of hiding his secret from her is unbearable. But just as he's about to admit everything, Emma cuts him off. "I don't know what's going on, but you've been incredible today, Jake," she says, giving him a reassuring smile. "I can tell you're nervous, and I get it. But you look amazing. This whole experience means a lot to me, and I know it's not easy for you. But I appreciate everything you've done." Jake's heart races in relief, but also in confusion. He's been caught in the act, but Emma doesn't seem to be angry. She's not suspicious. She's compassionate. Could it be that she really doesn't suspect anything? Or is this just another layer of the mystery he's been trying to unravel? As the reception continues, Jake tries to shake off the tension, but he can't stop thinking about Emma's words. Could she truly be unaware of the truth, or is she playing along with his secret? Is this just the calm before the storm? Just as Jake begins to relax, the wedding planner pulls him aside. "You're needed for the next part of the ceremony. she says, and Jake nods, his heart still racing. As he walks away, he hears Emma talking to a friend in the background. The conversation is soft, but something in Emma's tone catches Jake's attention. She's asking about the maid of honor, about how perfect everything has been, but her voice seems uncertain. Is she beginning to suspect something? Or is Jake overthinking it? The question hangs in the air as he walks away, his mind racing with 1,000 possibilities. The night is far from over, and there's still a long road ahead filled with uncertainty. The evening progresses with all the usual excitement and energy of a wedding reception. The music plays, people are dancing, and everyone is celebrating Emma's big day. But for Jake, time feels like it's moving in slow motion. Every smile, every gesture feels loaded with meaning. He can't shake the feeling that something is about to go horribly wrong. As he stands in the corner, observing the celebration, he feels out of place, like he's both part of the group and entirely separate from it. He watches Emma, radiant in her wedding dress, and his heart swells with conflicting emotions. He loves her, but he's terrified that his secret, his whole other identity, will ruin everything. This is the moment when all his fears collide, and the reality of his transformation hits him harder than ever. The tension in his chest is unbearable. With every passing second, it feels like the walls are closing in. There's no going back now. Whether or not Emma knows the truth, Jake can't escape the overwhelming sense of dread. The night is far from over, and there are too many unanswered questions hanging in the air. Just as Jake begins to settle into the chaos of the reception, an unexpected voice calls out to him. It's Emma's cousin, the one who had arrived earlier that day. She walks up to Jake with a grin, but there's something different in her eyes. A knowing look, as if she's been watching him closely all night. Her voice lowers as she speaks. "You look so different tonight, Jake," she says, her tone casual but with an edge that sends a chill down his spine. "Are you sure you're okay?" Jake freezes, his heart pounding. He wasn't expecting this, and the sudden shift in energy sends him spiraling. The words barely register in his mind as he stammers out a response. Yeah, I'm fine, just a little tired, I guess," Jake mutters, trying to brush it off. But his anxiety betrays him, and the more he talks, the more the unease grows. His palms are sweating, and his eyes flicker nervously toward Emma, who's talking to another guest across the room. The cousin narrows her eyes slightly, her expression unreadable. "It's just, I've never seen you like this before. It's almost like you're someone else. Is there something you're hiding from everyone?" Jake's breath catches in his throat. His mind races with the possibilities. Has she figured it out? Does she know the truth? He's on the verge of a breakdown, but he knows that any wrong move could blow his cover. Meanwhile, Emma is no longer the carefree bride. Her gaze keeps drifting toward Jake, her eyes searching for something she can't quite place. She seems distracted, her laughter quieter than usual, and there's an unspoken tension between them. Jake can feel it in the air. She's beginning to sense that something is off. Every time she glances in his direction, Jake's stomach lurches. Is she catching on? Is she putting the pieces together? Or is it just his paranoia? He wishes he could read her mind, but instead, he can only watch her, helplessly wondering what she's thinking. As Emma's cousin walks away, she throws a final comment over her shoulder. "Don't worry, Jake. Your secret's safe with me for now." The words hit Jake like a freight train. He stands frozen in place, trying to process what just happened. Does the cousin know everything? Is Emma about to find out? The uncertainty gnaws at him, and the weight of the night feels like it's crushing him from all sides. Just as Jake begins to feel like he's losing control, a loud knock sounds from the door of the reception hall. Everyone turns to look. The noise disrupts the calm atmosphere, and Jake feels his heart race. His eyes meet Emma's for a split second, and in that moment, the realization dawns. Something is about to happen that he cannot avoid. The door swings open, and in steps an unexpected guest, an older woman who looks familiar to Jake, but whose name he can't quite place. She's holding a small package in her hands and looks around the room with an air of authority. The room falls silent, and Jake feels the tension spike. Who is she? Why is she here? And Why does she seem so intent on finding Emma? Jake's eyes shift nervously to Emma, but her expression is one of confusion, not recognition. The stranger walks toward Emma, who stands still, her lips parted in surprise. There's a moment of silence, and then the older woman speaks with a calm, yet firm voice. "I have something for you, Emma," she says, holding out the package. "But first, I need to speak with you about something important." The air in the room feels thick with suspense. Everyone is waiting for Emma's reaction, and Jake feels like he's holding his breath. He has no idea what's happening, but he knows that this unexpected visitor is about to change everything. Emma hesitates for a moment before taking the package, her eyes still locked on the stranger. She slowly steps back, holding the package tightly. She then looks at Jake, her face unreadable. "I'll be back in a moment," she says softly, and Jake feels the chill of her words. As she walks away, Jake is left standing there, his thoughts racing. Who is that woman? What does she want? And why is she so focused on Emma? More importantly, what does this mean for Jake and his secret? The camera lingers on Jake's face, his expression a mixture of confusion and fear. The uncertainty is unbearable. He feels like everything is on the verge of falling apart, but he's powerless to stop it. As the night continues, the feeling of dread only deepens. With each passing minute, Jake's fear grows. Is Emma on the verge of discovering the truth? Will the stranger expose everything? Or is there still a chance for Jake to keep his secret safe? The questions remain unanswered, and the suspense is unbearable. The camera zooms in on Jake's wide eyes as he waits for the next twist, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats, wondering what will happen next. The room is filled with a sense of uneasy anticipation as Emma walks back into the reception hall, her eyes never leaving the small package she's holding. Jake's heart races as he watches her approach, his every instinct telling him that this could be the moment when everything unravels. He's been living with the fear of discovery all night, but now it feels like that moment is inevitable. Emma's expression is unreadable, and the entire room seems to hold its breath in the silence. When Emma finally speaks, her voice is calm but firm. "Jake," she says, her eyes locking onto his, "I need you to come with me. Now." The way she says it leaves no room for argument, and Jake knows that whatever comes next, he won't be able to avoid it. The tension in his chest tightens as he follows her, and every step feels like an agonizing journey toward the unknown. Emma leads Jake to a quiet corner of the reception hall, away from the noise and distraction of the party. The atmosphere here feels different, more intimate, more intense. She doesn't say anything immediately, but there's a weight in her gaze that makes Jake feel exposed, like she's already figured everything out. "I know there's something you've been hiding," Emma begins, her tone gentle but insistent. "I don't know exactly what it is, but I can feel it. You've been acting distant tonight, and I can't help but think it's because of something else." Jake's throat tightens. Every word Emma speaks is like a dagger, but he's not ready to confess. He doesn't know how to explain it to her. The thrill, the fear, the secrets he's been hiding from the woman he loves. But Emma's eyes are soft now, full of concern, and he knows she won't leave until he tells her the truth. "I'm sorry," Jake whispers, his voice breaking slightly. "I've been trying to keep this from you for so long, but I can't anymore." Jake takes a deep breath, fighting to steady himself. "Emma," he starts, "I've been hiding something about myself for a long time. I've been living a secret life." He pauses, unsure of how to continue. "I've been crossdressing, and I don't know how to explain it to you. It's something I do, but I've never been able to tell you about it. I was scared." Emma's eyes widen slightly, but she doesn't interrupt. She simply waits for him to continue. "It's not about you. It's about me," Jake adds quickly, as if that would somehow make it less complicated. "I've been trying to figure out who I am, and sometimes dressing as a woman helps me feel more whole. But I never meant to hurt you." There's a heavy silence that follows, and Jake feels like he's drowning in his own words. The fear of judgment, the shame, it all comes flooding back in that moment. He fears Emma's reaction, the rejection, the disappointment. His secret is out, and he's left with nothing but the raw, vulnerable truth. Emma takes a deep breath, processing Jake's confession. She stands there for a moment, her expression thoughtful, before finally speaking. "Jake," she says softly, her voice full of warmth, "I'm not angry. I'm not even disappointed. I don't know if I fully understand, but I do know this: you don't have to hide from me. Not anymore." Jake's heart skips a beat. He looks up at her, unable to believe what he's hearing. "You're not mad?" he asks, his voice trembling with uncertainty. Emma shakes her head, smiling slightly.
"No, Jake.
"I can't say I've ever been in a relationship with someone who's dealt with this, but I love you. I want to understand you, not judge you. We'll figure this out together." The relief Jake feels is overwhelming. For the first time that night, the weight on his shoulders begins to lift. Emma's acceptance feels like a miracle, and it's a moment of pure emotional release. The moment of confrontation and emotional truth leads to a significant change in Jake's and Emma's relationship. Emma is supportive, and while there's still much to understand about Jake's journey, the couple now shares an unspoken bond, a connection forged through honesty and trust. "We don't have to figure it all out today," Emma says, her hand gently squeezing Jake's. "But I want to be here for you, and I want you to be able to be yourself." Jake smiles through his tears, overwhelmed by the depth of Emma's understanding. For the first time in a long time, he feels like he can breathe, like he's not living a lie anymore. Just as the tension between them begins to ease, the mysterious woman from earlier reappears. She walks toward the couple with purpose, a knowing smile on her face. "I thought you two might be done with your conversation," she says, her tone oddly calm and even kind. "Emma, I think you should open this now." Emma looks at the woman, then at the package in her hands, and without hesitation, she rips it open. Inside is a small, carefully folded dress, beautiful, delicate, and almost ethereal in its design. "It's for you, Jake," the woman says, her voice filled with meaning. "This dress was always meant to be yours." Jake is left speechless, unsure of how to react. He stares at the dress in Emma's hands, wondering if this is the beginning of something more. Was this woman sent to guide him on his journey? Or is it just another sign that he's about to change in ways he's yet to understand? The camera lingers on the dress, then on Jake and Emma, as the scene fades to black. The future is uncertain, but for now, Jake knows he's no longer alone in this journey.